For the accent fabrics, we're using 10-inch squares, and you have to be very careful if you want to get all of the pieces out of your 10-inch square, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The dies we're going to use, we're first going to use die number 3, which is the half square triangle, and die number 2, which is the 2-inch finished squares. There are 4 squares on this die, and we need 4 squares for each block. And these are there are 2 triangles per each block, and we need 4 triangles for each block. So we're going to start with a triangle. And you see it has the little notch right there, and we're going to use that to our advantage. So put the die down. Now I pressed these, and I've got a stack of 3, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. So we're going to take the very corner, this upper left corner and top corner, and we're going to line the left here and the top here as close as we can get. We're not going to worry about having too much overlap. In this case, we want to have as little as possible. So you just keep checking, and I'm going to be fine with that. So let's put the mat on, turn our machine on, and we're going to run it through just like this with the 3 layers, and the rest of the fabric is just going to hang off the side. Now we pick this up, give it some rub it a little bit so it won't stick, and this will probably stick anywhere because the fabric I'm using is called Wovens by Bonnie and Camille, and it's very thin and it's a looser weave. So we're going to pull this off, and we barely have enough we can see here for the edge. So we have our half square triangle, and then we have another one here, and we have 3 layers. So let's put this to the side. Now you see we have very little waste here, and we're going to take this now and we're going to flip it to this opposite corner. And I'm going to move it around a little bit because this is overlapping some. And we're going to do the same thing. Just barely cover that blade. And let's do it again. Now these half square triangles aren't where the problem comes. The problem comes when we're trying to cut the 4 squares. So let's take this off, and see, we have this. So there's our other square. So now we have a total of 4 triangles of each color. So this is enough for 1 block. Now I like to cut these little pieces off to get them out of the way. So now you see we have this odd shape here. It's connected in the middle. And we're going to try to get our 4 squares out of here. And these are not big enough to get all 4, so we're going to have to get 2 out of this and 2 out of this. If you get lucky, you might be able to get all 4. So I first go through here and cut this apart. Now let's get our die number. Let's see what it is. It's number 2. And now we're going to put this cut part right even with this blade right here, or any blade that you have, and we're going to look and see if we've got it covered on all the sides. And I think we're going to actually get all of the pieces out of here. So let's try it. If we don't get all of them, then we have this stack here to get the rest out of. Okay, let's see how well we did. Okay, there's some. All right, there's extras on the edge. So we have this full square. Now this one kind of stuck a little bit in my die. And it looks like we have all the squares are done. And this fabric ravels a lot, so that's why it's doing that. And we have a bunch of little pieces. So now that's how you cut your accent fabrics from your 10-inch squares. And you're going to do that for all your 30 pieces. Now the reason I stacked only 3 is because you might sometimes want to cut this or fold this in half to get your squares here if you don't have enough. So if you do that, then you have your 6 layers already in there. So you can try 6 layers if you want and do them that way, but I found that doing 3 layers worked better. Now I'm going to show you how to cut the background fabric. Now the background fabric, you've cut your 12 width of fabric strips, and they're 10.5 inches wide. And so you're going to notice that the lengthwise grain is going this way. But we are going to take this and fold it in half like this. So you actually have 2 folds. You have a fold down here and you have a fold up here. And we're going to turn it this way. And our lengthwise grain is going in this direction. So that means we want to have our label for our die facing us. So it's going to go this way. And if you put this on here, you'll see that you have enough to cut one piece of this, or it's actually 2 half square triangles, 2 triangles. And what you have here is 4 layers of fabric. So I'm going to just place it on here and make sure I clear the blades. So I check the sides by pulling this down, and you see there's extra here and extra here. And you can check this other one by folding it this way. So I'm going to move it up a little bit and to the left. Now let's put your mat on, and you'll notice we have all this extra here. Just fold it up, and we're going to send this through. Okay, and then just pick it all up together and move it over here, and we're going to rub it and pull it off. So there we have our triangles, and this gives us 8 half square triangles. Now what you do, I like to cut these pieces off. They just get in the way, and you're going to slide this up here. You might have to refold it, so slide it up. You should get 4 cuts from this width of fabric. Fold this up out of the way. And I found it's easier to do it this way. We could have cut the strips of fabric at 5.5 inches, but that's twice as much cutting then. So this works for both of these 2 dies we're using for the background. So it's easier to cut fewer pieces and fold it. So we pull this off, cut off our little handles here, it looks like, and then we have another 8 half square triangles, and we're going to do this 2 more times. All right, that one really stuck. Okay, pull this off. So now you have 32 half square triangles. You're going to do the same thing for the rectangles, and we're going to use die number 8. It's the same, about the same size. So you take your 10.5 inch strip again. This is folded here, and we're going to fold it up this way and this way. And then you're going to lay it on here and cut it. And you'll also get 4 cuts out of here. For the half square triangles, you need 120 half square triangles. And you have cut 4 strips like this. And you do twice that much for the rectangles. So you'll need 240 rectangles, and there's 2 on the die. And you'll cut 8 of these 10.5 inch times width of fabric strips for that.